Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. If you're just joining us, you've missed a whole lot of good conversation with director Jacquelyn Frohlich and her film Wayward. But don't worry, you can go back, you can go on the podcast, you can catch up. So great to really get to know you as a person and as an artist, Jacquelyn, and welcome back to the show. Really appreciate you spending the hour with us today. I had this conversation yesterday with a woman who is very excited right now by what she sees happening in the world for women and women's voices. And she described it to me, which I thought was really cool, as almost a vibration that almost like a wave growing as it expands and as it captures the attention and the momentum that it deserves, that women's voices, women artists, women writers and entrepreneurs are really making it's the way she put in her words, it's our time. It's our time to tell our stories and show show a different perspective to storytelling, to life, um, to the experiences that we have together as humanity, men and women. And it's intrigued me, and I've been thinking about it since we spoke yesterday. Your characters are strong women, each with their own story, each with their own perspective that lends to the story. Uh, how do you feel about what's happening? Do you sense this vibration, this growing empowerment and benefit for all of us to see and to hear more than we've heard before?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that question. I think it's an important one. And I think it's an important one because first of all, when you think of women directors, I don't know exactly the percentage, but it's about only 12% of directors, film directors are women. And the reason that's a number that's really
Low.
like devastating, not just for women directors and the opportunities that are coming to them, but for all of us, right? Because everyone's stories, the women's stories are important for men as well. They're important for our children. They're important for their future wives of the children, of the boys that are growing up. It's important. A strong woman helps us, everyone. And that's not just like something I'm reading off a book. I mean, I think, those stories are important. And I agree with your friend. There is this sense of this calling for those stories to be heard, like almost, you know, um, I don't know how you say it in English, like almost like someone is playing the drums, like the
Yeah.
drum roll, because the world needs everyone's story out there right now, you know?
Well, and sadly, what happens is um, for all of us is that we men and women we kind of draw a line almost, and it's we get defensive. So if someone says this is a women empowerment or a woman's story, we're telling a woman's story, the men usually get defensive and it discounts. They discount it. They shut it. It's not, what you're saying. I'm not, whatever.
Right.
It becomes this battleground when it shouldn't be. You're right. You know, we all have moms. We all
Exactly.
have women in our lives that we love, sisters and friends. And one more, and someone else's perspective is really how we all live better lives. I feel like we thrive when we take in different perspectives and we try to be empathetic and see through someone else's eyes. you didn't set out to make that type of film. That's not what I'm saying that this is, right? But your characters, you have a, as you mentioned, you've got a the criminal is a woman and she's sort of the ringleader. You know, the 11-year-old Cleo is it's her through her perspective as a child, and all those things that we talked about earlier, where you almost feel trapped as a child, and you don't have a voice, and you're sort of put in a box. Um, and the mother, what a mother goes through, especially a single mother. So it wasn't a
Um,
conscious thing, but how did that idea? How do you see that?
you know, I I I would like to answer that by sort of saying something that I found very interesting, which is a lot of the men that watch this film, almost more so than the women, were just in love with the movie. And I don't know what it was about it. I've been trying to analyze, like, wow, I didn't expect men to respond to this film in the way they have. And I think part of it is that they got to access, you know, a woman's perspective in in all its color. Women are complex, wild creatures. We all are. I mean, but
And
women in particular are very complex, wild creatures. That's the best way I could say it, including Cleo in this story, right?
hmm
So I think I gave in this movie, without even meaning to or thinking about it, the role that usually men have in movies were played by women. And so and by the way, I know so many women who are like, not like these characters, but who are, you know, powerful, all the women in my life. So I think it's time and exciting that these roles are sort of like being written and stories like this being told, where we can see ourselves and men can see the women they're with, in all of their color.
yeah, and I think I can speak on behalf of pretty much all men when I say we are interested in women and how you think and what you feel and what you go through and those perspectives. Um, that is something that interests us and that we want. I feel like politically out there, it feels like it's a battle between the two, but I think we're more, um, we want to see more stories like this being told too. We
Yeah.
we appreciate it. So we do have to say goodbye here soon. I've got just a couple more questions for you. How do you see your role as a filmmaker? Do you feel any responsibilities? And
To the truth. That's it. I think the minute that you start aligning yourself with like telling a story that's gonna say this or that, you get into real trouble. I think as long as you say the truth, the deepest truth that you understand, then I think you've done your job or your responsibility, your full responsibility. And it's hard to do, by the way. It's a hard thing to do, to say the deepest truth that up until
yeah.
this moment. Most of us, never do. So I feel really lucky that I got the opportunity to do that. And a little naked, oh my God, everyone's gonna know my insides now.
Well, it just makes you more interesting, and we need more authentic stories, don't we? From women and women directors.
Thank
What do
you.
you hope to contribute to the world? I mean, and that could be film or that could just be as a person. Do you have hopes, things that intentions and things that you hope to share with the world?
Yeah, I've always believed that, my friend was telling me that, I should join this organization or that organization. And I always think that, you know, the more you sort of work on yourself, the more you are really a sort of like you're really unwinding something out in the hemisphere, and you're helping the world more than you know. So I think my goal is to just continue being as brave and to really just open my heart more. And I think it sounds like an easy thing, but it really isn't. Because I think when you can really love deeply and speak the truth, you're really helping everyone.
Yeah, I
I
like
hope
that.
that doesn't sound pretentious.
No, no, it sounds honest, and it sounds honest, and it sounds I like that hope. Okay, here's my final question for you.
I'm scared.
You're scared. Have they been scary so far?
Oh no, I'm
I'm
like,
sorry.
no, no, they've been good.
Okay, so when you near the end of your life and you're looking back at it, what stories do you hope that you have told, that you will have told? Do you have an idea of like, I hope that I get this one out and this one out and this one out to the world to show them, who I am completely?
You know, I think when you say the deepest truth again, that you understand, and it keeps changing, right? This is only what I know up to this moment. And I'm like, my next film might contradict what I've written in this one or directed in this one. So I just hope to just continue being truthful and not to let myself be swayed by this desire to be liked, which I think is a disease and that we all suffer from. You
Yeah.
know, I think like the less I will care about whether people like what I do or not. I wish that is my deepest wish for myself, that I continue moving forward without really, I know next film I'll be able to raise more money. I'll be able to, and with that comes responsibility. You have
Mhm.
someone's money and of course you want to make it back for them. But it's that challenge of also not giving in and doing something that maybe you don't jive with in order to get more money or get a bigger actor, to always have that be my north.
Have you found that I said it was going to be the last question, but that just made me think of something else. Have you found that when you are authentic, like you're being, when you are genuine and truthful, that is when you actually find success, not only personally, but the
Yeah.
world, it seems to accept you more when they get it. They connect with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's that like Diane Arbus line, and she says the more specific you are, the more general you become. And you would never think that's true, but it is the truth. The more you tell your story as opposed to everyone's story, the more you're telling everyone's story. And it
Yeah.
sounds like a soundbite, but it's the truth.
No, it is the truth. Okay, so I wasn't going to bring this up, but I will. Your character, Cleo, she says, and she gets emotional. She cries. She's explaining that she's moved around a lot and that she sometimes moves in the middle of the school year. And when I grew up, I went to 11 schools in 12 years. And when you told that story, when she told that story, I instantly felt that pain that it took me back there because I was always the new guy. I always had to move, and there was no stability. So that's sort of an example of that. It's telling these truths and telling these stories. Um, different people will hear what they need to hear and connect with it in different ways, and that's when you got the magic.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the magic strikes. Jacqueline, this has been so good to talk to you and get to know you. I want to thank you again for just being authentic and really taking us on a journey with your film Wayward. Again, Jacqueline is Frohlich, she's the director and the writer, and you can get the film streaming March 28th. I am going to, as I said, remind everybody when they can watch that. And if you're in Austin, Chicago, San Francisco, and I forget what the other city was, you go check it. But Miami, yeah. There are screenings, so check it out in your city if you're in those cities right now listening. You want to check out this film. It's really, really a great movie. Jacqueline, thank you.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you for your time and your kind words. It meant so much, truly.
Mm. Well, thank you for your gift and your art.
Thank you.
All right. Everybody have a great day. Communicate, but listen more and evolve. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Jeremiah.